Hello guys, today I'll be reviewing Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. Now I'm not going to review all of their albums, maybe in the future, maybe, who knows, I guess we'll see, but this was an album that I did want to review because I was listening to some of the songs on the album recently, and I figured, hey, why not give it a review? And I did, of course, recently review Power Slave, so if you haven't seen that review, definitely check it out after this review. But yeah, this album, it came out in the early 90s, and Iron Maiden wasn't really at their peak at this time. Most people would say that their peak was in the 80s, maybe like mid to late 80s, depending on who you ask, and I can definitely agree, but I thought their 90s work had some pretty good stuff, and I think this album is the best of their 90s work, and I still think that today. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the album. The album starts off with Be Quick or Be Dead. Fairly fast, upbeat tempo song. Has some nice aggression to it, especially with some of the riffs. And the chorus is also pretty catchy. And lyrically, it's about political and economical scandals at the time. I believe in Europe, if I got the place right. And yeah, this song all around, I think it's pretty good. I think it's one of the highlights on the album too. It's memorable and catchy, and overall a pretty solid album opener. But then we get to the song From Here to Eternity, which is maybe one of the more commercial sounding songs of the album. Now, it's not super commercial, but I'd say, again, maybe one of the more commercial ones again. But the chorus, I think, is pretty catchy, and it's maybe not one of my favorites on the album, but the song does have some nice catchiness to it. It's a fairly hooky song too, but not my favorite of the singles, but I do like it though, again. But then we get to the song Afraid to Shoot Strangers, and this is a political song, and I believe the lyrics come from the viewpoint of a soldier during, I believe, the Gulf War. And yeah, I think this song is another highlight on the album. I mean, both on a musical and lyrical standpoint. You get some pretty intriguing melody in this song, especially in the first half of the song. Eventually you get some more heaviness towards the second half of the song, and the solo in this song I think is pretty excellent. One of my favorite solos on the album. And yeah, again, definitely a notable song on the album / highlight. But next we have the song Fear is the Key, and this song is about fear and sexual relationships resulting from AIDS. I did not know that until recently when I was doing a little bit of research just to learn a little bit more about the album. But Fear is the Key, not one of my favorites on the album, but I do like it though. You get some decent groove in the verses with some of the riffs, but I think the chorus, to be honest, is kind of average. Not the most catchy or memorable chorus out there, but not bad though. But I'd say I might prefer the verses a little bit more, but the song overall is just okay. But I wouldn't say that's the worst song on the album. We'll get to that later. And then we're going to get to the song Childhood's End, which is one of my personal favorites on the album. Definitely one of the most underrated songs in my opinion. Absolutely love this one. Not sure how to put in words why I love this song, but all I have to say is just give it another listen if you haven't heard it in a while. I think the chorus is catchy, and I think you get a pretty decent balance of heaviness and melody in this song too. But then we get to the power ballad Wasting Love, and this song is about loneliness caused in a relationship, eventually leading to one of the people leaving. And yeah, this song shows that Bruce Dickinson has a really strong singing voice, or clean voice, or melodic voice, however you want to put it. And yeah, the melody and his voice really pull you into the song. And all around, I still think the song holds up. Maybe not my favorite Iron Maiden song, but I'd say it's one of the highlights on the album. I think it's a pretty good song in general. But then we get to the song The Fugitive, and this is probably one of the more forgettable songs on the album for me personally. The chorus is pretty catchy, but outside of the chorus, the song doesn't really do much to really stand out or leave much of a lasting impression. I mean, it's not a bad song, but it's just kind of average for Iron Maiden in my opinion. But it does have some decent moments though, even outside of the chorus. But then we get to the song Chains of Misery, and The rhythm work in the song kind of has a swing to it, which I find kind of interesting. At least that's what I kind of hear. But I think the rhythm work really pulls into the song, and I think the chorus is pretty catchy. Maybe not the most complicated chorus out there, but again, catchy enough to keep you interested in the song. A shorter song, I believe. It's about 3.5 minutes long or something like that, and overall, I think it's a pretty catchy song. But then we get to, hands down, one of the most forgettable songs on the album, The Apparition. Now, the song isn't terrible. Again, it just doesn't do much to leave much of a lasting impression, and there are moments in the song that do kind of feel maybe a bit underwhelming, but I wouldn't say that it's a song that is so bad that it makes you angry or you're just like, oh man, turn it off. But the song, it's harmless, but it's definitely one of the most average songs on the album. But then we get to the song Juice Be My Guy, which is hands down one of my favorite songs on the album. The shorter song too. It's a little over 3 minutes long, and it's one of the hookiest / catchiest songs on the album, especially the chorus. The chorus is definitely memorable and catchy. And if you haven't listened to the song in a while, definitely give it another listen. But yeah, definitely one of the highlights of the second half of the album, and on the album in general, at least in my opinion. But then we get to the song Weekend Warrior, and the song lyrically is about football hooliganism. And that basically just means violent acts during a football event. I didn't know what that was until I did a little bit of research in that when I recently discovered what the song was about. The song to me is another more average song for Iron Maiden. Again, it's harmless. It's not god awful. It's just kind of just there for me. Not much to say about it, but again, it's not terrible. But then we get to the album closer, Fear of the Dark, and most people say that's maybe the best song on the album or one of the best songs on the album, and I definitely agree that it's one of the best songs on the album. The song has an intriguing dark atmosphere to it, and you get some pretty dark, intriguing melodies, such as in the first half of the song or first part of the song, before eventually getting into more heavier riffs towards the second half of the song. And the chorus is also pretty catchy too. Maybe not the most catchy, not the most complicated chorus in the world, and it doesn't have to be, but I do still think it's pretty catchy. And also the solo is really good. Probably one of my favorite solos on the album. It's memorable and definitely pulls you into the song for sure, along with many other things about the song, like again the melody. But yeah, overall, a pretty good song. The song is a little over 7 minutes long, and lyrically it's about a paranoid man who constantly thinks that something's gonna spring out at him, whether from the dark, whether it be something or someone. And yeah, again, another highlight on the album, and overall pretty strong album closer. Maybe one of their best album closers, along with Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, of course. But anyways, that's my review of the album. If I had to rate this album, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. And of course, my score could change at any time, but for now, I'll probably go with an 8 out of 10. But yeah, definitely the best album of their 90s work. And of course, if you haven't heard it somehow, definitely check it out. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on the album. How does it compare to the other albums for you personally? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are some of your favorite tracks on the album? And all that good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.